I think the electric Taycan is the hottest car in the Porsche lineup. 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds. I guess you can breathe after you get there. And 750 horsepower overboost that they've branded Launch Control. My friend lives right down the street from a Porsche dealership, and he says there's a midnight sale. You can get a Porsche Taycan for only $16,000. If you have an interest, give him a call. 1-800-CASH-ONLY. Hi, my name is Tim, and welcome to the second video in my 4 Critical Questions series. Today's question: how do you want to position your offering? So what is positioning? Sometimes this is called value positioning or market positioning or even price positioning. Positioning is the perception of a product or service relative to competitive alternatives based on its meaningful and differentiating attributes. Meaningful is that it's important enough to me for me to pay attention to, and differentiating means that it's different in a meaningful way from competitive alternatives. Let me talk about some car brands now to make my point, if my intro didn't do that. Think about Porsche and Acura and Lincoln. Now envision the ride of each of those cars. Envision the buyers who you would expect to see in a Porsche versus an Acura versus a Lincoln. And what kind of image do those brands convey or confer upon their owners? As you can see from that little exercise, each one of those brands has a unique positioning in your mind, and price is an important part of that positioning. When I suggested you could get a Porsche Taycan at the price of $16,000, it makes alarm bells go off in your head. There's something incongruous about that. Let me tell you a little true story. I owned an Acura, and I love the car. But I took it to my local repair shop, and the sign on the top of the building was Honda Acura Repair. And I'd taken it there for a few months. The guy was great working on the car. But I learned from him that he got a contact from Honda Corporation. Ultimately, they put him out of business. Honda Corporation did not want the words Honda and Acura on the same building. Those are at 2 different price points, 2 different value positionings, and they don't want the 2 to be confused. We can extend that example. Think of Porsche versus Volkswagen. Same company, different brands. Or Lincoln versus Ford. Same company, different brands at different brand positionings, different price points. You see, maintaining uniqueness in positioning is absolutely vital, and price points are an essential part of that positioning. Brands fail when they lose that uniqueness of positioning. For example, think about Oldsmobile. Think about Plymouth. Think about Mercury. The brands were not unique enough to sustain an operation in a competitive environment. Now let's look at the distinction between price positioning and sales price. And let's use one of my favorite examples, ice cream. At the front of the store, typically you'll find the highest priced brands. And as you go toward the back of the store, you'll find the economy brands. In the order, it goes something like this. Ben & Jerry's at the front, Haagen-Dazs at the front, then you'll find Breyers and Dreyer's, There'll be some local premium brands, then premium store brands, and finally economy brands at the back of the store. You see, pricing strategy is about price positioning. Pricing strategy in ice cream is a decision about where you want to locate in the freezer. Where you locate in the freezer determines who your target market is and what the rules of the competition are. For example, if I were hosting a cocktail party and were to invite all of my illustrious business friends, like all of you, then I'd want to buy Ben & Jerry's, because at the party I'd want to make sure that you were treated really special, really in a unique way. On the other hand, I have 2 sons, and they can consume a lot of ice cream. So for my sons, I'm sorry, I'm buying the economy brands, because quantity is much more important than quality. The last point I want to make about positioning is that positioning defines who your competition is. Ben & Jerry's is competing with Häagen-Dazs and not with the economy brands. Different target market, different reasons for purchase, different competitors. By choosing your price point, you are choosing the competitors you'll be battling with. Now let me distinguish the sales price from the price positioning. And again, let's go back to the ice cream aisle. The positioning stays constant. That is, the freezer position doesn't change. The Ben & Jerry's is always at the front of the store and the economy brands are always at the end. But sales price may vary frequently. For example, you go in one week and it's buy one, get one free. The next week you get 2 for 1 price. The next week it may be $1 off a brand. So positioning stays constant, but sales price may vary frequently. You see, sales price is determined by tactical considerations. For example, the quantity on hand, the shelf life. I mean, you may have too much ice cream on the shelves that has to be moved. How you want to price position your offering is the second of the 4 critical questions to ask in any pricing decision. It is vital that your price position is consistent with your brand and value positioning. Don't try to sell a Tyken at a used VW price. For other videos in this series, please click here.